Hey swimmers, welcome back to the Swim Vice channel. I'm Coach Mandy, and today's video I'm going over the women's 400 medley relay where they take gold and they set a new world record. I will be going over technique highlights for Reagan Smith, Lily King, Gretchen Walsh, and Tori Husk. All right, let's get into it. Okay, starting off with Reagan Smith, leading with backstroke, fast reaction time, excellent underwater. Right as she breaks free for her first stroke, she's already about half a body length forward. And you see here that her dominant side is her right, and she's slightly rotated to seamlessly enter into that first stroke from the dive and her streamlining. And so you can see here minimal disruption in the water. Body line is nice and stable and streamlined. Also, her head position is nice and neutral, and you can already see the depth of her right arm as she executes her first initial catch, moving into her first stroke cycle. Here's a great shot of her second catch here on her left arm. You see a full hold of the water, but most importantly, you can see on her left trap area is that it's down, it's relaxed so that she has the space to move. There's no impinging motion there, and she's able to fluidly move her catch all the way through to the release point. And also in this image here, you can see this bow wave created from the top of her cap. Right there, you'll see this little bit of a crease, and that's providing the space where she's breathing in. And you always also get this bow wave when swimming freestyle, and you'll notice that when I talk about Tori Husk at the end and how she's able to breathe very deep within the pocket. But you can also see the pocket is generated just from this viewpoint for her backstroke. As Reagan continues on, you can see this excellent extension of her right arm, and look at the depth of the arm. It's slightly downhill, and most importantly, you can see visibly the space between her ear area and her right shoulder. It is not cramped together close with contact. She actually has that space, and the reason being is she's able to increase her range of motion by extending her arm slightly under, and that's going to create or position herself for an excellent catch. Most importantly, she's not in this zone close to her head position, because overall that would add unnecessary shoulder movement, also twisting the body line. But she executes this beautifully. Her body line does not move laterally. It stays nice and straight and stable due to this fact, contributing to that motion.
If you're new to the channel or you've been watching my content, be sure to hit the red subscribe button below. That way you stay notified for new content weekly, and you also show your support for the channel.
You can see right before she initiates that catch, the arm is a bit deeper. You also see her lats engage, and her head position is stable, neutral. There's full space there for her to be able to complete that catch moving forward. Here she's about to complete her second and final 50, and you'll see right in this freeze frame at this angle, you'll see the depth of her catch again, below her shoulder, and you most importantly see the spacing from her trap area for her neck and her left shoulder. You can see the symmetry involved on her right arm, slightly downhill. You see the crown of her cap, keeping nice and still and stable. There's no moving around, and you can see her strap. You can see her right swimsuit strap. It's not cramped, wedged between her neck and her shoulder. She has that spacing to be able to increase her range of motion and be able to execute a great catch. You can also see that she has full engagement and extension from her hips and her glutes, which there's no flexion from that area. She's keeping her body line extremely high on the surface with a fast 6-beat kick. And a 6-beat kick means 6 kicks per stroke cycle. A stroke cycle is both arms entering the water. Okay, here comes Lily King with the breaststroke leg. You see right here with her underwater, I just have it freeze framed at this nice shoulder shrug, her lengthening her lats, keeping her head position nice and tucked, keeping her body line nice and straight so she gets that strong underwater and also minimizes drag before she starts her initial stroke. In this freeze frame, you can see excellent turnout from her feet, and also a common misconception with breaststroke is to maintain keeping your knees really narrow. They do have to come out past hip width apart in order to increase your range of motion and get a powerful, strong kick, engaging the correct muscle groups to move forward and maintain a higher tempo. Here are a couple points from her final 50 of this 4x100 relay. And you see here in this freeze frame, I talked about the kick, full feet turn out. You see her heels are up at the surface of the water, feet fully turned out. And you see her body line from her hips to her hands are hugging the surface of the water. And this provides her streamlining position to not only handle that high tempo, but also minimize drag. So her body's moving in this S sinusoidal wave pattern right here in this freeze frame. You'll see a slight press from the chest, slight pike from the hips, which helps her move in this short axis pattern. And lastly, you can see here she maintains a quick sweep of her arms moving forward to finish her stroke. On to Gretchen Walsh with her top tier underwaters. Starting off with her first stroke though, she's keeping her head down, it's not a breath, and you can see full streamlining of her legs, fully extended, and keeping her head low. Here is the signature point of her technique. You can see she fully presses her chest down, full extension of her arms moving forward, and the pike in her hips. I talk about this motion in breaststroke, as I mentioned earlier. It's much more exaggerated, which is helping her get this incredible catch out front. You can see right here, she has a full hold of the water in preparation for a breath. And right at this freeze frame here, you see it's a little bit blurry, but if you look at her right hand, both her right and her left hand are exiting at about 5 and 7 o'clock. They aren't cramped at her hips. That way she's able to move fluidly forward and release her arms after finishing and completing her breath. Here's another angle of that press down. You see the pike from her hips, and she's able to move within that sinusoidal wave pattern and creating that excellent catch moving forward. So right as she completes this final 50 of her leg, you can see how exaggerated, again, her body position is in order to be able to create that catch as much as possible out front. So essentially she's using her body position to position herself to create that catch versus her catch dominating the motion. So you can see how high her elbows are versus her chest, and that's how she's able to get a full hold of the water created from her body position first. And lastly, you can see that she takes such a quick breath that her head position is already down before her arms enter the water, as you see in this freeze frame here. The reason for a quick breath is to be able to maintain that body position and get as much power moving forward without any interruption. Okay, here's Tori Husk as the anchor for freestyle, and she's breathing every other stroke. And from this position here, you can see that she has kick timing where she's kicking down with her left leg as her right arm is entering the water. She has a fast 6-beat kick, but I have it freeze framed at the proper connections. You can see her diagonal timing during her breath. And even though she's moving at a sprint tempo and speed and form, she's still extending her arms slightly under the water. You'll see her hand is slightly lower than her shoulder as she completes her breath. This has helped maintaining her streamlined body position. As you see, she's hugging the surface. And also you can see that diagonal timing with her right kick kicking down as her left arm has speared through the water. You can see how low her head position is, even holding and maintaining a high tempo. You can see her goggle in the water. You can see it's the side of her cap. That means her head is nice and low and neutral, and she's breathing in the pocket. I mentioned this earlier for Reagan Smith with her backstroke. You can see that bow wave. Well, she is creating the same type of bow wave and pocket, but for freestyle, you need to breathe in that pocket. Again, you can see the spearing depth of her left arm. It's never uphill or close to the surface. It is a slight downhill, even maintaining a fast tempo and going through this type of coordination pattern. There's still these main principles that are applied in her freestyle, as I've mentioned in her freeze frames, and this helps keep her minimizing drag, executing power, and also breathing low and quick. You can also see her left lat engage because she's preparing for that catch, even with the spearing depth of her arm. This is the pattern that she maintains throughout this leg of the race. And lastly, on this first 50, you can see that full extension of her right arm, and also she's kicking down with her left leg as her right arm has speared through the water or extended, and that is diagonal timing connected properly for a 6-beat kick. Here's her completing her final 50. You can see from this angle as I freeze frame it, that you see that spearing depth from this viewpoint. You see it's almost just a slight slope down as if she's rolling a marble down her arm. That's how precise it is, but that's helped maintaining and keeping her body line on the surface while also getting a quick low breath. And right here you can see that she completes a catch because she prepared with that execution of her extension of her arm, and you can see that she has a full hold of the water moving forward. And even maintaining a super high tempo, she still maintains keeping both arms relatively forward, and that's also helping her maintain a higher stroke length and release her CO2 once she completes a breath. And lastly, you can see here during her breath, you see her full half of her face in the water, that she's creating the pocket and she's breathing very low within that pocket to not disrupt her pattern or increase any bit of drag. And this is what I see that helps them completely dominate this event and set the new world record. I hope you found this video inspiring and let me know in the comments below. Okay, swimmers, if you're watching this video and you've no idea what I'm talking about in terms of tempo or how to get faster or swim efficiently, be sure to click the link below and join my SwimVice program. I have multiple online courses to help you achieve efficiency and speed. You can also go to swimvice.com for more resources to help with your swim practice. All right, swimmers, enjoy your training and I will see you all next week.